Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 143 of PD's Awesome Guest Panel. Now, before we introduce tonight's iconic, legendary name, I would like to introduce tonight's co-host for this evening, Power Ranger enthusiast, and one of my best friends, and that is the great Dan Romano. Dan, welcome, man.
Hey, Pete, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure to have you, buddy. And I'll introduce tonight's guest star. Let me just say, not only is this man a walk-in legend, but he's also a Power Ranger legend. He is a man that I've been a fan of, that both my co-hosts and I have been fans of for many years. And he is the star of Power Rangers SPD. My guest at this time is Piggy himself, Mr. Barnie Duncan. Barnie, how are you today? Welcome.
Hi, guys. I'm pretty cool. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're just super honored.
I'm just interested. Why is that all SPD? Does Mystic Force not count in my?
Oh, I love Mystic Force. By the way,
we did have Mystic Force questions for you. We just wanted to cover Piggy, because Piggy was like an SPD character, and we did not forget your role as Toby Slambooster.
Okay, I just saw the promotional imagery around my name, and it's very Piggy centric. But I feel like Toby had an equally important role to play in
did
life as the Power Rangers. But Piggy was pretty iconic.
Well, really quick, isn't it interesting that we're in 2025 and SPD took place in 2025?
Oh, that's right.
Isn't that wild?
That I was at the Morphicon last year, and
Pasadena?
Someone brought that up. Yeah, someone brought that up, that I was about to be that year.
I can't believe we didn't get to we didn't cross paths, because I was at that same Morphicon in August.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
I was.
It was 3 days long, man. What were you doing? When you come down my aisle?
I was literally just roaming down as an excited child. I felt like a kid literally in a candy store. I was that happy. I waited years for this, to go attend my first Morphicon.
Is it your first one?
Yes.
What city do you live in, Petey?
I live in New York, Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, you've got a nice New York accent.
Thank you. And
and Daniel, whereabouts are you from?
I'm in Chicago.
Chicago. Are you gonna? Okay, you got a nice Chicago accent.
You hear a little bit the Chicago. The Bears.
Yeah, a little bit.
And
I'm from New Zealand. I've got a New Zealand accent. Don't know if you noticed.
A little bit, not too much, but slightly.
I said it before.
Are you in what part of Auckland, or where are you at?
Yeah, Auckland.
Nice.
Yeah.
New Zealand always puts out some of the greatest actors and actresses. I mean, we've got Barney, Cat Brown, Latham Gaines, Katrina Devine, all these names, to Tom Turner, just all excellent, just one of a kind actors and actresses. That's in my opinion.
That's good.
One of the first questions I have for you, Barney, and that's going to be a typical cliche question, is how and when, and you're not only an actor, but you're also stand-up comedian as well. So I just was curious to know, how and when did you get your first big break into either acting or stand-up? Take us there.
I'd say I'm probably still waiting for my big break, to be honest. I did... Well, my mother was an actress, so I used to go and watch her on stage, and when I was a kid, and think that it was like a cool trick that she was playing on everyone. And I kind of, when you're a kid, when you're little, and you see some cool thing that an adult's doing that you think is really impressive, then you go, I want to do that. So I think that I had that from a young age. And then, I don't know, I got an agent when I was like 13, and I started auditioning for things, but they were all, you probably know about this. There's a soap opera in New Zealand called Shortland Street that everyone's on. I think I was on that 3 times over my teenage years as different characters. But it wasn't really... I mean, to be honest, I went and lived in Barcelona for a year, in Spain, when I was 22, 23. And while I was there for a year, just noodling around. And then in that 10 months into it, I did a theater show for an English speaking group of people, and I really liked it. And I went, oh, I think I just want, it's time I go back to New Zealand and really try to do theater. And so then I just started doing that and plugging away at theater. Film and TV stuff has never really been a big goal. It's just like I go to auditions and hopefully someone hires me so that I can get money, but I don't ever have it as it's never been like I want to be a famous TV actor or whatever. It's just like it pays more than theater. And then yeah, through theater I slowly started doing more. I gravitated towards comedy. I guess I had a natural talent for that. And in like 2003 I met 2002 I met a guy that would soon become my best friend, and he was a really good physical comedian, and we started doing a lot of physical comedy together, kind of like slapstick stuff, making shows of that nature. And then so when I got onto the audition for Piggy, I felt I could bring quite a good physical quality to that audition and got the part. And then I think that season of being Piggy was probably the first time that I enjoyed acting on a camera, because I felt like I was able to really bring my own flavor of my own talent a little bit. Like the art department and the directors, once they realized that I had a good comedic flair and a good physical flair, and Piggy lived he was a trash dude. Like he was just always hanging out in junk. So there was just interesting props always around. So I would start to like use the props in the scene, and the directors were like, rather than, hey Barney, put down the banana, they were like, it's great, what else do you want? So they sort of encouraged me to fuck around with the props, and then with Toby I just got offered that role because no one had seen my face because of Piggy. They could use me again, and they just knew that I understood the style, but they let me go further with that. So before a scene they would just sort of go, hey, what props do you want to use in this? And yeah, anyway, there wasn't a moment for me. It's just like I've just been plugging away at this since I was 13. But I'd say that Power Rangers was probably still my most enjoyable time in front of a camera. I like live stuff better.
Cool.
Me too. And it's interesting you bring that out, because most I think like theaters got really hurt bad during COVID and stuff like that. So like, I mean, it's already like, because you mentioned the pay too, and the film does pay more, but it's a shame because I love live theater too, but it's been really hit hard recently.
Yeah, and stand up is the same. That's better live.
Plus, what's interesting about you too is most, at least what I've seen with comedians, they start off as comedians and then get into acting later, but you were already into acting and then got into comedy. Or it was kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it was the other way around. And I think I have that quality in my stand-up.
And I think before, I love both characters you played, but I love Mystic Force slightly a bit more. Just if I may throw that out there, I think it's. I mean, I relate to Piggy a lot, but I also relate to Toby a lot. So just throwing that out there, I connected to both your characters. So
that's cool. Yeah, I think with Piggy, I definitely based him on some of those old school those old school not silent, but old school slapstick characters like the Marx Brothers and
would you say Three Stooges?
Yeah, Three Stooges.
How'd you come up with his voice? Just curious, because I noticed there was a little Humphrey Bogart with him, like, "Hey, what's going on here?" Like, was that like Was that
It
you, or did they
came-
say something for
Well,
like?
actually, the prosthetic like blocked over my nose.
Okay,
So rather than sounding like when you have that, you sound a little bit like you've got a cold. So I just, by going a bit more nasal, it was a way of disguising the fact that my nose was blocked and I sounded like I had a cold. And it kind of suited this, that was like his resting, his arms kind of rested like this. He was
yeah.
always kind of in that. I don't know, who was it? Maybe it was a little bit of like the penguin, like old school
Oh yeah,
Batman.
Burgess
Batman.
Meredith.
Yeah, that kind of version of the penguin. I can't like this is going back a long time, but I think I find the physicality first and then the voice comes out of that.
Okay, that makes sense. Because and then as you just Toby was very physical. Like there was a lot of slapstick with him too, which I
He
love
was
it. But
he was like Kramer and Christopher Lloyd mushed together.
yeah,
Barney, did you prefer like did you find it easier to portray Toby or Piggy? Like which of the two do you think was much more easier to like control as far as the character wise? Like which was easier to play?
Easy to play would be Piggy because he was an alien that I could invent and he had pretty clear he was very clear about his wants and needs and like his goals. And he yeah. And then so but Toby was more of a human, what an actual human. So he has therefore there's more variation in the mood with a human. There's going to be because we as humans go we expect a bit more light and shade, but when it's an alien you don't expect them to necessarily have an existential crisis about what they're doing with their life because you just don't know
that's
how.
true.
And you mentioned stand up before too, Barney. Did like you said you preferred live theater, what like acting? Well, how do you prefer acting to a stand up or vice versa?
I think I prefer I think I prefer stand up. Or like I like acting if it's something I've written. Like if I've written the play, then I'll like acting that. Or if I've helped devise it. But um I like with stand up when there's like 100 people in a room and me and it's my hour of my jokes and comedy, then I can control the role. I can control the ride that we're about to go on. I know the length, it's an hour, and I know how safe to go and then how far I can go off to the track where people are like, what the fuck's going on? I don't know where this guy's going, what's happening, and then bring it back. And I like fucking around with like pushing people away and then winning them back. And my favorite reaction is when people are like, I don't know what's going on, but I love this. Is my favorite reaction. So when it's my own hour of my own stuff, I can control that more. And that's I think it's like I guess if you're in a cover band or you're playing your own song, you know.
Yeah.
I totally.
What you got me thinking? What do you think of current PC culture? And like, since you're coming, do you like to put like you're just saying you like to push and bring people back? What do you think of all this? Like, have you seen some of the people that go up and slap comedians? Because I think that's terrible. Just for telling a joke, it's just like, what's wrong with you people? Isn't that?
Yeah, I don't think comedians should get slapped,
No.
Not at all.
but I am 100% woke and I am 100% don't punch down. If you need to make fun of someone to get a laugh, you're a shitty comedian. and you should be getting all of the bad press that is hurled at you, and I don't care if you get cancelled.
Okay.
Work harder. If the majority of the audiences are like, I don't think trans jokes are that funny, don't really think this is that funny, then just don't do them. There's plenty of other things to make jokes about.
There's other topics to discuss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we just work harder. You just listen to your audience, I reckon.
Because that's
I
what
like it. I think it was interesting. Seinfeld had a change of heart recently when because he was all, oh, PC crap's ruining comedy, and then all it is just like tastes change, man. You know, taste change. 50 years ago, the jokes that people were saying 50 years ago, a lot of them would be like they were misogynist. They were making fun of your wives. They were like women drivers, and it's like you can't fucking say that shit these days. It's like it's just not funny. It's lazy. It's feeding into a stereotype, and it's a cheap laugh. So I think listening to an audience and going, hey, these kinds of things are just a little bit old fashioned, and we don't really find them funny. We kind of find them cringy, and just like stop making fun of people who constantly are getting punched. I would say to comedians, that whole fucking Kill Tony crowd.
Okay. I didn't know you watched Kill Tony, and you watched that. So like Dave
I
Smith
can't
and
stand that. I can't stand that dude, the host, whatever his name is.
yeah. Okay, it's not. I watch some of it occasionally too. It's hit and miss
He's just
sometimes.
making fun. Like these people come up and try their 3 minutes, and then he just kind of belittles them. And I don't know. It's just lazy. I know that it's easy. It's just a cheap laugh, and I prefer comedians that work a bit harder to be funny.
Yeah, like
Bit
I
more
don't mind
cerebral.
cheap roasts, but roasting is different than comedy. That's
Yeah, like Anthony Jeselnik, I think is a one-liner comedian, and he can roast very well. But there's a smartness to his humor, and he's very rarely punches down. Yeah.
So then, what do you think
Sorry,
about like Ricky
that was a bit of
Gervais?
a big rant.
Oh, no, it's great.
you definitely point that one. Like society has changed tremendously. What was funny 40 years ago is a totally different perspective on people.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's good. It's got to. Art has to keep doing that.
I agree.
Yeah, and art reflects culture.
Yeah, it's that's the cool thing about it.
It is the cool thing. And Dan, you
Yeah.
had a question as well. So your first question?
Okay, so what would you say are some of your comic influences?
Definitely. I mean, like a lot of comedians from this part of the world, and I grew up listening to like my brother's Monty Python record collection.
Okay.
I love Monty Python.
So that's a type of British surreal humor that has a big, strong tradition. And I kind of was a devotee of all of that from then onwards. That stuff from the 80s, the young ones, right through to late 90s, like Mighty Boosh. There's a guy called Noel Fielding who I really, really love. But then earlier on, I was really obsessed with Buster Keaton.
Okay.
And a French silent comedian called Jacques Tati. Yeah, and then, but I think the thing that had the most profound effect on me was Ren and Stimpy, and like
That show.
91.
I love that show.
Honestly, like Ren and Stimpy and the first De La Soul album, 3 Feet High and Rising. Those two things kind of came out at the same time, and I was 13, and it just perfectly coincided with my going into high school and like trying to be a cool grown-up person, but also not wanting to let go of childhood and my imagination, and seeing how you could still be fruity and be a teenager, and that was okay. And So yeah, Ren and Stimpy was massive. Influences now, I'd say Noel Fielding's still pretty much. I mean, I really North Americans. I like Zach Galifianakis.
He's good.
He's probably my number one American comedian. And I really like this newish guy, Sheng Wang.
Okay. I'm gonna have to
He's
look him up.
North American. He's got a Netflix special. He's cool. He's really cool.
I gotta share something with you about Ren and Stimpy though. I actually 2 years ago had the voice of Ren and Stimpy on the show, Billy West.
Oh, wow.
I just
Incredible.
you brought up Ren and Stimpy. I just had to bring that up because we actually had the voice of Ren and Stimpy on the show, and wonderful, much like yourself, just a wonderful, nice, charismatic man.
He took over from
Chris Pelusi.
Chris Pelusi. Yeah.
Who got? I think he got fired. Actually, I could be wrong, but I think he got.
Have you watched the documentary about?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know about the
Yeah.
dark shit that he did.
Yeah. So Billy West, did Billy West do both characters?
He took over Ren after that John got fired.
Right.
I
Did he do Mr. Horse?
He did Mr. Horse too. He took over all of his characters except George Liquor American.
Oh yeah.
Remember George, right? Hello, I'm George Liquor American.
Yeah. I mean, look who's on my shelf right above me.
Yak! The shaven yak.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is so influential.
Oh, please tell me you love the song Happy Happy Joy Joy.
I do, but I'm more of this song.
Log? I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe I actually got the log there. That's hilarious.
I love Ren and Stimpy. It's like, but you know what? There was always a difference between John K's Ren and his. I mean, he did like a Peter Lorre mixed with Burl Ives, and I think Kurt Douglas, what he used in his voice. Like he was like, oh, what I'm gonna do to you. Like he had that kind of eerie voice. But
yeah.
I also had a question for you too, and speaking of that, which leads to our next question, and I call this the raw emotion question. And I wanted to put you in a scenario too, like an acting scenario too, Barney. Like if you were doing a scene with a co-star, and in the scene it requires you and your co-star to get into this heated argument as part of the scene, though, and your co-star comes up to you and says, "Mr. Duncan," and he says that because he respects you in the whole wide world. He goes, "Mr. Duncan, I know in this scene it requires us to get into this heated argument. I had an idea where we can enhance the scene that not only makes the story believable, but also makes it believable to the audience watching at home, in which you can lambast me so hard, like give it to me and like lash at me, and that way I can cry in fear and like cry in furious, like in fury. If you were approached with this type of method, how would you react, and what would you say to that said co-star?
If they said for this scene, just really lay into me,
have at me.
Yeah, and that involves going off script.
Well, not like saying the script, but saying with much more like harsher, like saying like the.
No, I mean if that's what they needed.
Yeah,
I think if I will try I think that's nice. I think New Zealander is a little bit more polite, and we don't tend to polite, just reserved. Like on set, you very rarely will an actor go, "Hey, Barney, in this scene, I really appreciate it if you blah 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 blah." We're just like, okay, well, let's get ready for action, and then just try and do really good acting and hope that we all do well. So, I think it's nice to be generous on set. So I would try my hardest to have at them as much as they wanted.
Like I agree. Like some of the answers vary. Like some like said the same thing you said, and then some say, well, it really depends on the director and stuff like that. Like that's why I asked, because I get different answers from different actors.
Yeah, I would. And then the director might, but yeah, totally. I think that's nice. I think it's good when an actor will ask that.
I agree, but I agree with you. Like I think, like, you know, in order to enhance the scene, in order to bring more liveliness to it, I think it should express like the emotion you should, like, even though we all know that this is scripted and not real, I think we should express how the scene's given. Like if you're angry, show you're angry. Like don't make it feel like it's a script, make it feel like this is reality.
Yeah, totally.
Dan, your next question, my man.
My question is, sorry to jump back to SPD here, but how long did it take the makeup to get that applied on?
I was actually talking to Greg Conowitz about this at the Pasadena MorphCon, so I couldn't remember. He said it was about 2 hours.
2 hours? That's not bad. That's cool.
Yeah, because he made it in like the head was just a hood. So there was 3 parts. There was like a hood part that had it was like a balaclava. And then there was and then there was like there was like I can't remember. There was like a this part and a this part, but this part being separate allowed me to like move it.
Yeah.
Like I figured out that I could screw my face and like move the prosthetics somewhat. My face is working really hard, by the way, underneath the prosthetics. So I always had like a sore facial muscles at the end of the day because I'd be going to try and make the stuff move, and then it was it was like an hour to take it off though as well.
I had
The
another.
worst was like the spray, the little like inking
Oh
around
yeah.
the eye and around the hands and stuff.
And didn't he have fake teeth too, or no?
Yeah, I've still got them somewhere. I kept them. I was supposed to bring them to MorphCon, but I forgot. But I've got them somewhere.
Barney, are you attending the 2026 one?
I don't know.
I got my
Hopefully.
ticket.
Really? They're on sale already?
Yeah, they went on sale in November.
I hope so.
And you know what? You're the first person I'm gonna stop by to visit when I do go to MorphCon if you attend. I'll be like, it'll be like a Wayne's World moment where I'll be like, not worthy, I'm not worthy.
Right, that'd be great.
I think what would be great too. I'd love if we got you to comedy clubs around it because Nick Sampson he came to Chicago once. He did a comedy club here. I think it was Zanies or something, or he did something. I would love if we got you over here. If
I wanted to do that in LA, but I just couldn't get on anywhere. I emailed a bunch of places and I just couldn't. No one replied.
like where'd you try the Laugh Factory or like because I think like you gotta reach out to Pauly Shore and stuff. Like I think his mom owns it or whatever. He might own it, something like that. But either way, I'd love to get you into the States again. That'd be so cool. Or if you did a show in Chicago, I'd come see that.
Or even New York. I'd love to see you here in New York.
I did some stand up in New York. I got married in New York actually
Oh, no way.
2 years ago. Yeah.
What part?
Well, we got married at City Hall in which borough was it?
Was it Manhattan?
I can ask my wife. I can't remember. And then we went to Little Italy. We walked out and we were around the corner from Little Italy. So where was that?
That's Manhattan.
Okay. Yeah, Manhattan. And then it was just me and a mate of mine and our 4-year-old daughter. And then we went up to the Empire State Building and it was so cool. It was a magical day. But I'd done some stand-up twice in the nights leading up to that. Don't ask me what one of them was like a cool the audience wrote down topics and you just pick pieces of paper out of a bucket and try and make jokes up about them. And that was really good because I was really jet lagged and lucid. And the next night was weird. It was called it's like the smallest stand-up club in New York. Like Curtain Club or something like that. And it was just you had to pay $5 to do it. And there were only like 5 other comedians in the room. And I was like, why am I paying $5 to tell you guys my But I'd love to come back. Totally.
Oh, I definitely buy tickets to see your stand up. Totally. Just the opportunity.
I'd let you roast me. I'd let you make any Italian jokes you wanted because I'm full of it. Like, I don't care. That stuff doesn't bother me. I won't get offended.
Same here. You could say any jokes about me. I won't. I'm not easily offended.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, I'll make it.
Dan, you had another question.
What was it? Oh, was it? Wait, and P, can you come back to me because I forgot?
Well, actually, I'm gonna piggyback on your question that you just asked, though, and I was gonna ask Barney, to Barney, that what did you have any like a specific story of like how like with handling the costume with or props with Piggy, with like on set?
I mean, yeah, it was just really fun when Piggy won the lottery, and that me and the costume department had to figure out like how to portray like what Piggy would do with bling and richness. And I love working with cool wardrobe people because it just helps you unlock the character so much more. But that was fun. Like, I always said that Piggy was like a cross between an artichoke and a monkey. And we ended up putting like earrings on like lots of his artichokes.
Yeah.
And I'd have like, we were trying on watches, and I think I just said, just let me put them all on. Like maybe, and I had like 3 ties and like 5 watches and heaps of rings. It was just great how Piggy would go, that's a nice tie. Let me have 10 and I'll wear 3 now. You know, he had that a nice, like, he didn't feel like he needed to play by humans' wardrobe rules. So I felt that was quite iconic, you know, when he made his own style. Yeah, I think it was just fun when he won the lottery. It was just it became so much fun in terms of props and costume.
Would you say that was your favorite episode too? When he won the lottery?
Yeah. Sorry, my little babies. Hello. That was good. And are we talking SPD? Yeah. And there was like, I mean, there was something kind of operatic about the final episode. Was it the final episode?
Endings, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Endings, yeah. That was quite. I liked the whole kind of cheesy Hollywood. We got to all band together to fight the guys. It was like, I'm Spartacus. Like everyone just like banded together, and it was cool.
I won't lie, Barney. Like that episode, like had me thinking it, and this is gonna lead to my next question too. Because one thing, like I noticed too, like in that episode was like that was when Piggy, was teasing to betray the SPD Rangers when they were battling the A Squad when they turned evil, and then we see like a tease where like Piggy's gonna turn evil, and like the viewers at home, including myself, were thinking, no, Piggy, no, not like this. And then in part 2, you find out he was actually like on the SPD B squad the whole time. My question,
double cross.
Yep. Well, my question related to this is, how did you balance Piggy's humorous side when having serious moments like that?
Well, I just think it's down to, this sounds so wanky, but it's down to like playing the character. So his character naturally was he was humorous, right? But he wasn't trying to be funny the whole time.
Yeah.
Just was funny because he was different, because he was an alien and kind of did things in a different way, spoke funny and had funny mannerisms and dressed funny and so he had that he was an other, which we laugh at, and he was safe to laugh at because he was an alien. And so, but within his personality, he's making wisecracks. I think he was a real wisecracking guy.
He was.
And if that's just and I think that's just his coping thing that he developed, right? Because he was an alien on a planet that he wasn't from, and just like surviving on the streets, fucking dealing junk, eating banana skins, and selling information to whoever. So he does whatever he can to get by, and so wisecracking is just part of his survival stuff. So he's always going to have that, even in moments of pathos. He's going to be, because it's just his character.
Yeah, well, he was playing all sides. He was playing Grum, Broodwing, the Rangers. It was everywhere. Where Toby, it was just he was running the record shop and just kind of somewhat oblivious, but knew what was like when Light Source came out and the Rangers confessed it. That was cool. But I hope you appreciate this. Like you had some of the most iconic moments of the show, in my opinion, and you'd be surprised how much of it I can quote just offhand. It's I'm not sure if that's weird or not, but I'm just one of those type of fans.
Not at all. And Barney, I want to. We talk so much about Piggy. I want to talk about your other child too, and that's Toby Slambrook. And I want to get your memories of your audition for Mystic Force and playing Toby.
Well, I didn't audition. They just offered me.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
Well, talk about like you have any stories you could share playing Toby, like on set?
Well, I mean, it was a dream, because they said that they were like, yeah, this is Toby, and he owns a record shop, and I'm a DJ, and I spent a lot of my spare time, like when I was in Pasadena, I was just driving out to record shops.
You're a DJ, or I gotta hook you up with a DJ friend of mine. I didn't know that.
I'm constantly just searching through record bins.
Barney, I actually too, because there was actually a record shop in Pasadena. Did you go to that? Like, did you see that record store that was near the big Target, like in the Pasadena? I think it was like on 13th Street or something. It was a record store, and it was near, I believe, a Target though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I went to all the ones in walking distance, and I started taking Ubers out further. So yeah, I mean, it was cool to be like, my set is a record shop, because I spent so much time in record shops. And I loved, yeah, it was just once the directors realized, like, yay, Barney's back, he's good with props. Like that block. I remember I don't know if you remember the scene when Toby decided that he was going to get fit.
Yep.
I remember that one.
And they said, hey, we thought we might get you coming in to the shop on rollerblades.
Yep.
And I went, oh yeah, cool. Can I get like 2 pairs? Some for my hands as well? And they kind of frowned and went, okay. Like they just said yes to all of, like, another scene, they were like, but Toby's stressed out, what do you think he needs? I was like, I don't know, maybe just get me like, one time I asked for a giant pencil and some sort of squeezy stress ball, or those magnets that go tick tick tick.
Oh, like
tick.
Yeah,
like whatever I could think up. The art department would kind of be salivating, waiting, like, what do you want? What do you want? And then they'd have 10 minutes before the cameras were ready. So they'd sprint off to their warehouse and rifle through trunks of odds and ends to try and satisfy what I wanted. And that was really fun.
What's funny is I know the episodes you're talking about with that. So, like, that was when you were opening the Fireheart chest, with the bead.
Yeah.
So
was it when I was doing when I was trying to like work out a big puzzle, or a sort of a big...
that was it. The thing with the lock on it that had the note on it, where the Fireheart egg was. Yeah.
That's right.
Dan, you remember?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I love Mystic Force with a passion. To me, it's in my top 3 favorite seasons. So, and I love SPD equally. It's just Mystic Force slightly better. I just connected with it better.
Oh, and I really loved the episode where there was this guy that was like this rock legend, and there was a
Oh yeah,
cardboard cutout.
Shake Bone Break. Is it weird that again? Sorry that
What's
I
his
remember
name?
that Jake Bonebreaker.
Jake
I'm
Bonebreaker.
sorry that
Yeah.
I. Is it weird that I remember this stuff just offhand?
Oh, it's good. There was a funny scene with him. But yeah, it was just I just liked the freedom.
Now I gotta ask you too, like, as you are on Mystic Force too, and Richard Brand Castellanos is a dear friend of mine too. I was just curious to know what was the, like working with the cast of Mystic Force.
Lovely. They were lovely. They were mainly Australian, except for some friends like Kelson Henderson, who was back again. This time he was in prosthetics.
Yeah, as Phineas.
Yeah. But I didn't have a lot to do with them. We were like, yay, we're coming back, and we just never saw each other because we were in completely different worlds. And a dear friend, Peter Rutter, who passed away, she was in that season. But I really liked the cast of Mitch. Richard was lovely. He's a musician, and I was in a band at the time that was gigging quite a lot, so he'd come to our gigs, and yeah, they were just cute. I didn't see much of. I saw a lot of Angela Diaz. She was always down to hang. Richard, and the other fella, Firas. I didn't see that much. But he's become quite a big time actor in Australia. He's a good actor.
What
He's
about
a cool dude.
what about the cast of SPD? Because we had Monica May on the show, and we were just curious to know, like, what was it like working with the SPD cast as well?
Yeah, lovely. Again, it was hard. It's hard for those people that are cast as Power Rangers because they're young, and then they're thrust into this position, and so they get, understandably, ego becomes a big thing when you're young and you're the star of a thing, and you're the hot property on the set, and you've got your own trailer, and you think you've made it, and quite often, I'm not going to say who, but a lot of the time it goes to people's heads. And I have zero tolerance for that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't hang out with people that were trying to act big. So mainly my friends would be the crew, to be honest with you, like the lighting people, the wardrobe people.
Oh, okay. Dan, did you remember your question?
How does it feel to be an icon and a legend?
Well, unbelievable, because I don't believe that.
You were very
But I didn't really until I was at this, until I did the Morphicon, and I had just so many people come up and talk to me about how important whatever SPD or Mystic Force was at their age of their life, and they were having maybe some shitty time at home, parent problems, but the TV was kind of like a bit of a escapism, and Mystic Force or Power or SPD was like their favorite show, and that people were saying some quite profound things to me at this Morphicon about how much of an impact I had on this tender, formative part of their life, and that's it's just really like lovely to hear that, and for people to be able to meet me and go, you 20 years ago, or whenever, how long ago, 20 years ago, you played a part that was really big, and And it's just important for me to be able to look at you in the face and tell you that. And I love that. It's nice. It's, you know, it's totally unique. It doesn't happen that often. And I feel, yeah, I don't know, pretty grateful, and grateful that I guess that the people that made SPD took a chance on me and encouraged my particular talent that way. Yeah.
If
Definitely.
I may, yeah, one quick thing, if I may tell, since we're getting a little personal here, what was, if I may say, during Mystic Force, that was '06, my parents got divorced, and that season in particular, I mean, both, I love both seasons, but Mystic Force in particular got me through a lot of it because it was just at the end that happened. But going back to it, it got me through. And the fact that you're a comic now, that makes it even better because you make people laugh and help them escape through the tough times. And I don't mind a good roasting. So just wanted to let you know that too.
That's
Since
nice.
you're here, I can tell
Yeah.
you that for me, it's an escape. There was always something, as I say, you can relate to, and the characters, and just both like I enjoyed both the ones you played, but just again, just I hope
Yeah.
I'm saying this right, but just wanted to thank you again for helping me get through that
Oh,
time.
that's lovely. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I mean, we all, like, when my folks divorced when I was 8, I think my shows were MacGyver and Hogan's Heroes and Get Smart,
Such a great show.
MASH, and also that's when I started collecting comics, I think. Yeah. But it's so important. It's nice. It's not I think we were lucky to go through our childhoods without smart devices, because
Yep.
there was only like one half an hour gap a day that I could watch Get Smart once a week on Saturdays. You know, I couldn't binge it, and it became more I don't know. Those things become maybe slightly more meaningful when they only happen once a week, and you have your special time that you know it's going to be on.
Yep.
And so you make sure that your breakfast cereal's right and you're all ready, and like the doors, no one's going to annoy you, and you can just escape, rather than I'm just going to escape for 4 straight hours on my phone right now, you know?
Yeah.
I,
But we're more old school like that because I'm the same way. Even even did you ever get the box sets? Did they ever send you the box set DVDs of your seasons? Oh,
No,
that's awful.
I still
They
haven't
got,
watched the shows.
you should. They're really good.
and Barney, before I ask my next question too, I just want to, much like Dan, I'm going to give you your flowers right now too, because if we're going to get personal here, Dan, you shared your story, and we're very similar, like, as far as personalities and upbringings. I have to share one for Barney myself, because in middle school from 2002 to 2005, I watched Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, and SPD. And middle school was probably the harshest time of my life, hazed and bullied almost every day. And watching those series, watching Power Rangers, Ninja Storm, watching SPD, watching Dino Thunder was more like for me to help cope like with all those horrible times, so it helped me feel better. And this is my way, like my way of telling you thank you for actually, giving me years of like entertainment to watch to help me keep my mind off something terrible like middle school.
Oh, thank you.
And then,
Thanks, Becky.
and I want to say this too, because it's also related to my question too, and that is, how does it feel to knowing that Piggy, like a character like Piggy, has become a beloved and iconic character in the Power Ranger franchise?
Yeah, I think I kind of understand it, because Greg designed like such a cool, iconic looking dude, and there was just a great crew involved with that season. As I've mentioned, the wardrobe department were phenomenal. So there were some really, really talented people that kind of coalesced around helping create that figure. So
Did you see the figurehead he made of it? I'm sure you saw that. Yeah, isn't that hilarious?
yeah, he gave me a little enamel pin.
He did. I gotta get one of those.
Barney, at the Morphicon, were you next to Mike, Edward, and Richard's booth? Like, where were you?
No, I was next to Michelle Langstone.
Ah, from SPD, Doctor.
Yeah,
Minx.
yeah.
Okay, so I know. Okay, now I know where that was because there was like two things. Like, Morphicon is my first Morphicon. It was formatted very interesting. Like, you had one side here, and then you got the two middle sides, and then you got the other sides, which was cast, and the other ones were like merchants and Sentai.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a couple more questions before we wrap up, Barney. One of my questions too, and this is gonna be a fun one, and I ask every question, every guest star this question. When I'm not on a almost military like diet, and by that I mean I fast, like I almost fast almost the entire day until dinner time. My question for you is, Power Rangers is a huge production company, so I was just curious to know what the catering company was like on SPD and Mystic Force, and what was your favorite meal in catering?
Yeah, it was incredible. It was very, very good catering. As I said, like thing about Power Rangers was it was Disney money, like it was American money. So it was the best gig, and it was almost 6 months guaranteed work. So it was 6 months guaranteed very good income work for the crews. So it attracted the best lighting department people, the best camera people, the best wardrobe people. They wanted to get on Power Rangers because it was guaranteed work for half a year and really good money. So it just got the best of the best. So the catering was really fucking good. And I'm vegetarian, so
Really?
it was satisfying to have nice vegetarian options. And they've stopped doing it now, but there would always be dessert. And now they only have dessert like once a week on sets. But it was like, I can't remember any specific meals, but I can remember specific, like there would be just these beautiful apple crumbles
Mm.
with custard and like proper custard and proper crumble, not out of a can, like made properly. And I would just be like, this is it was unfortunate during SPD though, because eating was horrible with Piggy
Because
because
of the math.
the food would get stuck underneath in the cowl and in the latex, and it would start to stink, especially it was filming over summer. It was get really stinky and gross by the end of the day, so I couldn't actually eat much as Piggy. I would just mainly have fluids, but when I was Toby I really let loose on that catering table.
So cool. And Dan, you had a couple of questions, a few questions before we wrap up. What was your first? What was your question? Or one of the last ones.
Um, was
Do you remember?
was that come back to me?
It's okay. I actually had another question for Barney, and that was what was the original concept for Piggy as far as character develop, like like his personality, and how did you develop that personality later on?
I can't remember what the character notes were. I just remember going out to dinner with Greg, and Greg had designed him, and he was really concerned that I played him in the right way. I was drinking quite heavily during that dinner, so I can't. If I was just like, I've won the lottery, and they taking me out to this fancy dinner, but he was just concerned that Piggy had, and he brought this up in Pasadena actually, that Piggy had like that he wasn't one dimensional, that he couldn't just be a narc, like a snitch, and he couldn't just be that he had to have some complexity. And so I think it was about yeah, rather than playing maybe the like hamming up the I'm a weird alien, but just having some when he is selling information or playing both sides, that he is actually doing that to survive. Like that's his survival.
Yeah.
Like he wanted that to come across, that this guy is just trying to survive, and that's how he gets by.
And like you said earlier, he is very complex, and I'd agree with that. Like, even though he was playing both sides, he was gonna like he was kind of the moral. It's horrible. Like, even though he's portrayed as like a sleazy character, like there was some of that there, but he would always bring him back down to reality, like a little bit. Like, remember in Wired, where I'm gonna quote here, it's like this. It was with Sophie, the android girl or the
Yeah.
cyborg. She's like, you refer to her as a cyborg, when really it's wait, no, what's the? She looks human, yet you refer to her as a cyborg. Is she nothing more than circuits and wires? And it's like, just again, you hit them with reality. There it is, like.
Yeah, it's cool. I think there was a little bit of the character of the fool with Piggy, who could get away with saying cold hard truths.
Yep.
To the
And
royal court.
even the finale where he like they thought like you could tell he felt bad about betraying the Rangers. Like, wait a minute, did I do the like? You could see the wheels turning and thinking, did he make the moral right choice? And then just that lightning scene, and just it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go help him, and it was great. And just as you said, the one like the Spartacus, everyone come together. I love it. And even Mystic Fate, where you guys came together too. That was another one, but
Yeah.
Don't you think though, Barney too, as well? Like when correct me if I'm wrong here, Dan. There was an SPD Mystic Force crossover, wasn't there?
Uh, Not till
Well,
once Raider. No, that there was Barney didn't make
Piggy came into Mystic Force, didn't he?
yeah, in Ranger Down, but it was a brief cameo.
Yeah, but don't you?
And he brought up SPD in the future. He's like, this place will be crawling with aliens in 20 years, and
The reason I asked that too, guys, is like, wouldn't it have been really funny if we got to see Toby and Piggy cross paths? That way, we got to see Barney twice on the same screen.
I wish we would have.
You know, like a Katrina the Vine, where Katrina the Vine played two of her characters. She played Myra and Cassidy Cornell, and they literally crossed past each other.
I know, it felt like it almost happened. Maybe we were talking about it happening, or I don't know. It would have been good.
That would have been so fun, like just to see Piggy and Toby just interact. Like, you sound like me. That's funny. You kind of sound like me also.
Yeah, just giving each other sly compliments. Nice butt.
I did my impression there.
Don't worry, you're gonna get much more compliments very soon, sir. And Dan, did you figure out your question, or we're gonna have to go and do something off script and improvise?
We can improvise. It's
Okay,
fine.
improvise your last two questions, my man.
Let me think. Oh, okay. So, would you say you took any inspiration from like? Oh, here we go. What do you think about Ricky Gervais's comedy?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I think he is super funny. I loved The Office. I loved Extras. The other shows he's made, not so much. The show he's made about grief, I can't remember what it's called, where he's like he's lost his wife and he's just a grumbly old bastard.
Yeah,
it's good. I loved his Golden Globes stuff when he would
you love that too.
like exposing the hypocrisies of Hollywood right in front of their face. I thought it was awesome. And I loved his specials. The one where he takes a big swipe at the concept of believing in God and I think it's animals. I'm quite a passionate atheist, so I admire all that. I think that when he's punching up at religion, Hollywood, these kinds of topics, I think he's great. When he's punching down at people choosing pronouns, or it's lazy. I think he's just got complacent. He talks about how much money he's got, too much, and he doesn't really need to work hard because he's so successful now. So
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
You lose some of your sheen. I think that's happened to Chris Rock. His special was pants.
Yeah.
It happened to Dave Chappelle. I don't think there's no there's bitterness is not the same as anger at the system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a difference. And I think Ricky Gervais is maybe just bitter that people are kind of going, oh, you're not really that relevant anymore, Ricky. Sorry, we're just not, we don't find it that funny anymore. We like this 20-year-old comedian better. And maybe he's bitter. So now he's just punching down a little. I don't know. But I still think he's really, I love the vast majority of his canon, I think is really funny. And I'm not interested in like canceling him because he's made a shitty trans joke. I don't like, I'll still enjoy Picasso paintings. I'll play the fuck out of Michael Jackson songs. I will watch The Usual Suspects featuring Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
I can separate the art from the artist. But with comedians, I just don't really know if, I don't know if he means it or if he's just saying it because he knows it'll get hype. I think he's too intelligent to be that dumb. I think he's a really smart guy, Ricky Gervais. And I think when you are a bigot of any kind, it's just because you don't understand the other person's situation and you are too lazy to try and figure out what's it like to be you. And that's a sort of just a bit of a dumb thing.
Totally agree. It's easy to criticize and judge when you don't.
Yeah. It's harder to go, okay, what's the empathetic response I should have here? Rather than, you're weird.
I agree.
Yeah.
And before you ask one of your last questions, Dan, I just want to ask Barney real quick because you mentioned Monty Python though, and I love Monty Python. I watched that with my father. What was your favorite segment? Because I love the parrot one, the dead parrot one.
Yeah, look, I love the Swedish fish. I think it's the Hungarian fish slapping dance. Oh, there's too many. I just love and now a massage from the Swedish Prime Minister. Like it would just change. Like at the very start, there'd be that kind of naked bearded man at a piano going, it's, and then the non sequitur stuff I loved. I liked Ministry of Silly Walks.
Yes.
He pressed the intercom for Mrs. Two Lumps to come in, tea, and she just fucking spills it everywhere, and he just looks at it and goes, "Thank you."
Barney, was there a segment where there were three men that went, "We are the knights who say beep beep beep"? Because I could have sworn it was.
Yeah. Wasn't that Life of the Holy Grail?
Yes, that one.
Yeah. I mean, I also love the lumberjack song. I don't know. Ministry of Silly Walks is probably the most incredible. Like John Cleese,
He's one of my favorite actors.
how
Yeah.
his torso just stayed so still while his legs are just going wonky.
And
You
he's,
like John Cleese, you should watch a movie called Clockwise.
I'm gonna check that one out because I loved him in Splitting Hairs.
No.
I think I've seen it. I might have to rewatch, but he was in a Fish Called
Principal
Wanda.
was-
That's pretty great too.
Right. Clockwise, he's just stressed out. It's like, have you seen Faulty Towers?
Yeah, love Faulty Towers.
Like Basil Fawlty for a whole movie.
Like
I have
that.
to go pretty soon. Sorry,
Yes,
guys. My
we're
kids
gonna-
go home.
We're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna ask my final question, and that is, what's next for Barney Duncan? This is the last question of the show, sir. So this is the part where you can talk about, promote, hype, anything. I am passing the proverbial microphone to you. The floor is yours, Mr. Duncan.
What's next? Well, I've got a new comedy festival show coming up this year that I've got to make. I'm directing a show called Siblings, about disability within sibling units. And I'm maybe going to make a podcast, a kind of parody
Ooh.
podcast called Mundanity, hopefully.
That sounds sweet. I cannot wait to tune into that. And
Will
before,
it be on YouTube or Spotify or where will it be? Just
It'll
or
just be
Rumble?
on- No, I don't know. I don't know. That's it. It's like it's getting funded. It's the New Zealand Comedy Trust. Like, I'm one of 4 people asked to submit, and then they're only funding 3. And if they fund them, then it'll be via Radio New Zealand and the New Zealand Comedy. I don't actually know where it'll be. I'll let you know.
Okay.
we're gonna do our last. We're gonna close very soon. Dan, your final comments for Barney?
Just Barney, so glad to finally meet you, and again, longtime fan, and just thank you for coming here. And this was so much fun. And
Thanks to
hopefully
you,
I
man.
see you at the next PMC, or just if I ever get you to a Chicago club around here. Either way, we'll hang at some point. But it was a pleasure talking and hanging with you, and thank you again.
Lovely to. Sorry, my kid just wants. This is Clove.
Hello.
This is Dan and Petey.
And you know what, Barney? My final comments for you, sir. Oh, hello. Oh, adorable.
So,
Your kids are very beautiful, sir. I just want to say,
my fault. I'm choking.
You've got a green nose.
Barney, I'm going to conclude with the last thing. I'm going to say this. So I just want to thank you for not only an amazing interview, but I want to thank you years of those memories you gave me watching Power Rangers, SPD, and Mystic Force. You have this incredible gift where you could take a 30-something-year-old fan and bring him way down here and make him feel like that 15-year-old would bring, who had no confidence, and just watch Power Rangers because he had to deal with a horrible bullying in school.
Ah, that's really nice, man. Thank you, PD.
Thank you. And we're going to conclude. We're going to say this, Barney. And I waited since I was 15 for this, and that is, thank you, Barney. Thank you, Barney. Thank you, Barney. Thank you so much, sir. You have a wonderful night with your amazing, gorgeous kids.
Thank you. Thanks for being accommodating with the times.
Anytime. Have a wonderful night. Thank you again for co-hosting, Dan.
you're welcome.
Bye,
Thanks,
bye.
Pete.
Take care, everyone.